is Mary Ellen Lopez, and I'm going to talk to you today about some of my goals, my push goals specifically, as well as a journey that I've taken, an unexpected journey I've taken this past year. So first, I'd like to introduce myself and just tell you a little bit about me. I'm actually, my career is a nurse practitioner. So I work at a pediatric practice. I'm also a certified personal trainer and of course certified fitness instructor. My husband and I own a gym in Santa Fe. It's Together Strong, and that's something that we really believe. That's why we named our studio Together Strong. We really feel that being together and working together and accountable, we will stay stronger. So together we are stronger. So that's a kind of a little tidbit about our fitness studio and how it was named. How I got into doing fitness, of course I was active and I was doing all of the Beachbody videos at home. It's actually a really interesting, funny thing to see my collection of fitness DVDs from Beachbody, because I have tons, from Slim and 6 to Slim Series to P90 to P90X to P90X3. I have just a ton of Beachbody videos. So I did start in my living room. That's how this whole journey started. And of course I love Chalene Johnson and Debbie Sievers. I loved her as well. Chalene Johnson I really started to follow and really try to go more with what she was teaching as far as her fitness formats, because there was a bigger variety. So again, I started just like that, just in my living room. I was seeing in clinic every day, I was seeing a huge amount of obese children and obese families, as well as kids already suffering with abnormal glucose and high blood pressure and fatty liver disease. Just of course, what we are seeing in the American, from the American diet now, just the amount of illness and disease or dis-ease happening within our bodies. And every day I was talking to my patients and their families, and I was saying, you should exercise. Exercise is a great thing. It'll make you feel good. You should eat well. And I would give them the whole basic, information about nutrition and exercise. And I would send them, and I tell them there's these really nice videos to do at home. And I would send them to the Beachbody website. But I never knew that I could become a Beachbody coach, which is kind of, it's a hindsight is 2020 now. And now, of course, I am a Beachbody coach, and I've learned how to use that again in my practice and really push kids and their families to be healthy. So it has been a great beneficial thing for me to actually incorporate the health of the child and the family, as well as the fitness and the nutrition, and putting it all together and encouraging them to work together so that they are together strong, or stronger together. So again, that just came from working out in my living room, just trying to be healthy and just trying to share my knowledge. And as I did that, I started to find that there was actually a Turbo Kick certification. You could become a Turbo Kick instructor. So that was my very first step, become a Turbo Kick instructor. And then I realized you could become an APD, which that's what it was called at the time, an APD, not a master trainer. So I did everything in my power to really work towards that goal. Again, that was over 3 years ago. I became certified in Turbo Kick. I want to say it's maybe been 4 years now. And so I had already planted that seed. I already knew that I wanted to do something more, something bigger, because I could, because I had the resources, I had the confidence or the ability to feel more confident and to learn and to actually implement that and move further and get there. So that was something that I started to just grow. I started to really push and develop me and try to figure out, how do I get there? I knew I have the drive, I have the focus. Now what are the steps to get there? So ironic enough, I found my push book. Why I show you this is because this book right here, when Chalene talks about making these goals and making them so big that they're almost unattainable, I thought to myself, why would I do that? That just doesn't make sense. Why would I make something that's unattainable? Well, as you can see right here, I'm sitting in my brand new home. This is something that has happened from my push goal, because I listed very specific goals on how to get here, how to get to this house with my family, how to actually fix anything, build my finances. So it started from, I bring this up again, the push book. And when I looked at my homework or my goal setting, there was 10 goals. 10 goals that I needed to set. And I have accomplished every single one of my push goals or my goals except for one. And here I am. I am going, I am pushing, I am driving, I am focused, I'm ready to get there. And my goal, the goal that has not been completed, on my book, on my push book, my exact words, I will read to you. It says, I am an awesome APD for New Mexico. So again, that was in 2011. So here I am. I want to be the master trainer for New Mexico. I know that I have the heart, the passion, the drive. I also have the ability I just have the want for learning more, for self-development, and helping my community and others from my heart. I don't have any other ulterior motive. All I want to do is help and make this community healthier, because ultimately this is where it all is right into fitness and health. If I can make a difference with one person, then I have done my job, and that's exactly what I want to do. Last year, last January, so this is the second time I've sent in my audition, which I think is, now looking back, is actually a good thing. I've learned so much from then till now, and I think at the time when I sent it in 2 years ago in September, I don't know if I quite understood what I was doing or what I was going into as far as auditioning for a master trainer. I did make it to live auditions, and I went to the audition camp, and I learned a ton more. I learned so much more about myself, and I learned so much more about how to make myself better, or to make my community better, my classes better, how to build on me, and how to build on the goals that I wanted to accomplish and focus on that. So from that, I left with some mixed feelings. I left kind of thinking, is this really where you're supposed to be? Is this really what you want? Yes, it is really what you want. I was kind of going back and forth in my mind, and more it was because I was put under pressure, and that's a hard thing to handle when you're put under pressure. It's something that I've done before. I made it through, of course, nursing school, and I've made it through my master's program, which is even harder than nursing school. So I knew that I could do this. I could do this, and I had to just tell myself, yes, Mary Ellen, you can become a master trainer. You can continue to go with that drive and that focus and just follow with your heart and your passion. So here I am again. Here I am doing this, and I'm ready. I'm ready to show, and there's also some things that I'm going to talk with you a little bit about in just a few minutes that have actually pushed me a little more, and I feel like this is truly my calling, is to be on a bigger scale, a bigger level, and actually help others on a whole bigger community. Help them to be healthy and active. So, okay, so let's go back. So I finished the audition camp. I went, and it was, we were allowed to do the insanity training for free because we were ambassadors, or I was chosen as an ambassador. And so I went to the very first training that Christine Dwyer had. My husband and I were there, front row, pushing hard, ready to be the first people in Santa Fe, in New Mexico, to bring insanity. And we did just that. Here's where the road starts to turn a little bit. I didn't realize it was turning until I look back now and realize it was turning pretty quickly, and it was scary. It was a scary road. So I started teaching insanity. I was still teaching all of my other fitness classes, so the turbo kick, the PIO, Zumba, I was teaching, boot camp, I was teaching all of them. And I started to feel, especially with insanity, I started to feel this, it wasn't during class, it was after class, that I would tell my husband, do you feel nauseated? Do you have a headache? And he would just say, no. So I thought maybe I was just pushing a little more, or, because I'm a nurse practitioner and I diagnose other people, I was thinking, you probably need more electrolytes, maybe some amino acids, you probably need to build those muscles, something's not right, you're just not eating enough, you need to, maybe you're overworking. I'd also noticed that my push-ups, whenever I would come onto the ground and I would go into a full push-up, I noticed that my push-ups I could not get as much depth. I was feeling weaker. And so again, I talked to my husband about it, and he said, maybe you're overtraining. Take some time off. Let's see. Well, of course, I couldn't take time off. My classes needed me, so I would maybe take a day off, and I'd say, I don't really feel too much better. The other thing I noticed is I was getting a hoarse voice, or what I would call a morning voice, and I still have it slightly. Some days are better, some days are worse, and it's not based on how much I talk or how much I don't talk. It's actually, so here I am with all of these little symptoms. The other thing is, if I at the end of class, I would start to feel this sort of numbness or coldness in my hands. And it was kind of, it was March, April, so I thought maybe, spring. It wasn't really warm yet, so I thought maybe that's what it was. It was just, the temperature was just not working with me. So I just kept pushing through, and one day I was teaching Insanity, and ironic enough, it was, as I'm doing this video right now, it was 1 week ago, one year ago yesterday. So it was the Sunday before Labor Day holiday, and I was teaching, and I was in the warm-up, and I dropped down into, I think it was called a power squat. It was in the warm-up, and I dropped down, and all of a sudden I feel this horrible, horrible sensation in my lower back. And I thought, I just pulled something, I think, and I wasn't quite sure, so I tried to walk it off a little bit. Long story short, I ended up getting in with a chiropractor because I didn't think I was healthy, never hurt myself before, I never had any back injuries, so I went to the chiropractor. And I said to him, I think something's just out of place here. And he did just a basic neuro exam on me, and I had numbness on the left side of my leg, on the lower part of my leg. And he said, I think you have a herniated disc in L4, L5. And to me, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the end of my fitness career. This is the end of the world. I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And that was actually just the easy stuff. The herniated disc was just the easy stuff. Then the next day, or actually that evening, it was a Tuesday evening, I went to have an MRI done on my back. And here's where, this is really where my faith comes in. And I knew that God was with me. God really had something to say to me. The MRI order was actually for my lower back, for my lumbar spine. And they ended up doing what they called a scout MRI. The scout MRI went all the way from my lumbar spine, the lower back, all the way to the top of my head and back down. So the next day I went to work. I didn't know they had done that. The next day I went to work, and of course, because I'm in the medical field, I called the radiologist and I said, can you please tell me what my results are? I know I'm the patient, and I know that you probably shouldn't give me the results, but I'm also a nurse practitioner. Can you just tell me what it is? And so he said, you have a herniated disc, L4, L5. That's all I heard. That's all I understood. And that was traumatic enough for me, because I was feeling that. That was hurting me. He said, did you know you have a Chiari-1 malformation with syringomyelia? And I said to him, can you spell that? I really thought he was speaking another language to me. So obviously I did not know what that was, and most medical professionals do not know what that is. And that's why I'm talking a little bit about it today, because I feel like my journey now is to raise awareness as well. I have a much bigger journey. I wasn't quite sure. I went through lots of emotions, anger, denial, depression. It felt like it was surreal. I thought, how could this be? This is not me. I'm talking about someone else. And now I own it. Now I own it. I own this. I know that I had it. I was born with it. And what it is, what a Chiari malformation is, it's named after Arnold Chiari. He's a physician from the 1800s. He first identified this. And what it is the base of your brain, so your cerebellum, which is mostly for balance and proprioception, which of course why I was feeling dizziness and off balance and feeling a little nauseated. It was herniating out of my brains, out of my skull. So you have the base of your skull, and then you have the cerebellum that comes out, and it was actually coming out of the base of the skull. So you have the fluid that flows around your brain that goes down into your spinal cord and back up. What was happening to me is that the fluid made in my brain was getting out, but it was plugged like a bathtub plug, so it could not get back up. And what it did is it just caused the fluid that was now stuck in my spinal cord, because it runs around the spinal cord and back up, it was going into the spinal cord. So now not only did I have a brain injury, I had a spinal cord injury. And I what syringomyelia is those, it's a syrinx or syrinx, which is a fluid-filled cyst in your spinal cord all the way down. And that, people can't even walk with those. And I was teaching Insanity, I was teaching Turbo Kick, I was teaching Pyo, and they said to me, how are you doing this? How are you walking and talking? And I said, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? So then finally the road ends. This could have been I could have died from it. It was pushing up against my brainstem, which was causing the nausea that I was feeling in Insanity, and the headaches. It was causing the dizziness. It would also cause my heart to palpate or to feel just fluttery. Those were the things I was feeling because of the brainstem compression from the Chiari in my brain. So I ended up, of course, throwing the ambassador, master trainer idea to the wayside. There was no way I could do this. I didn't even know if I was going to live to see tomorrow. I actually did know that because I had a very strong faith that I was going to live to see tomorrow. But I wasn't quite sure where my life was going to go. So I researched it. So that was in September. Saw somebody in New Mexico in Santa Fe. Wasn't a specialist. I was not comfortable. So I found someone in Colorado. And when I went in Colorado, got there in October, by now I'm not teaching my classes. I'm very, very limited in what I do. And thank God I had already trained a lot of my students because they took over my classes, which was a really smart idea. I didn't realize there was a bigger, higher power that realized what they were doing with me and getting these instructors to be trained. So October, went to Denver, went to Aurora, Colorado, saw a specialist there who's well known throughout the country. And he looked at me very gravely and he said, it's not if, it's when you will end up in a wheelchair. And he said, you need the brain surgery soon. So that's where the story begins and ends. So my surgery was December 3rd, 2013. It was very, very traumatic for me. They had to actually shave the back of my head, which I love, 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 love my hair. That's one of my signature things is my hair. Everybody always says, your ponytail, your hair. So I was very, very upset that they were going to have to shave that. The great thing is you can't tell, and now I'm so proud of it because I have these little baby hairs that are now growing back and so strong. So here's the baby hairs. And what they ended up doing, and why I share this part of it is because I feel like I can inspire on a whole other level now. Something that I never knew I could do, and I obviously couldn't have before this, is they actually went into my brain and they removed a portion, like a half-moon portion of my skull, because the skull obviously was what was causing the compression up against the brainstem and the cerebellum. They shrunk my brain. I know it sounds funny. They shrunk. They cauterized the ends of the cerebellum to shrink back up. And then they put sort of a patch, sort of like a tire patch on the brain, and then they covered it up with a titanium plate and 2 screws. Now you would think just by saying that sounds horrible. It does sound horrible, but I feel amazing. I feel, of course there was rough times. I am now almost 9 months out of surgery, 9 months post-decompression, and I can see the difference in my body. So much of what was happening was the nerves were being compressed. I would exercise and exercise. I would not see much development in my muscles because the nerves were not being fed. The muscles were not being fed by the nerves. So now I have that, and there are still some remnants, but nothing serious. Like one of the remnants left, or one of the symptoms I have is, like I said, the hoarse voice. That's nerve damage to a nerve. And again, if I work super, super hard, if I do lots of weightlifting, then sometimes it'll be a little bit worse. It'll sort of have that morning raspy voice sound. But for the most part, I feel like this has been a miraculous healing. My MRI is phenomenal. The change is made. And I feel like now, today, I am ready. I am ready. I feel great. I feel renewed. I have a new life. I can share this. When people tell me, oh, I have this ailment, I have this ailment, I share that with them, my story, and I say, my life is not perfect. Oftentimes they look at you as an instructor and they say, well, she's always put together and her family is always there with her to support her, and on and on and on. And you have to just break it down and say, my life hasn't always been so easy, and this is the perfect example. And I feel like right now, today, and tomorrow and the years to come, I can make a difference and I can inspire even on a bigger scale, bigger level. And I'm ready. I have been driving, I have been driven, I have been focused. I want to get there, and I really hope and pray that you will consider me and know and see maybe the change in me, because I feel that even looking back at my old videos and my old audition, there is a change. There is a change, there's growth, and there's always room for more. And I am committed to doing that. I am committed to growing more and to learning more and to being the best I can be. Thank you.